Hello. Is it Za? Hello, Danny. How are you? Hi, Danny. How are you? Oh, I can't.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm happy to see you. You doing okay?
I am.
Hey, I hope everything's okay. You had a doctor's appointment. Oh, I met everybody in here. Daryl. Daryl! Oh, there's more. Demetrius. I'm like so happy to see all my students. Connecting to auto. Za, Demetrius. Okay, turn your audio, please turn your video on. Jalen Tart, here we go. Here we are. Courtney, yay. Hello, Courtney. Hey. Hi, Courtney. It's so nice to see you. I'm waiting on everybody to get here. We have a special guest today, Santiago Leon, sports broadcaster. Can everybody turn their video on, please? All I'm looking at is a blank screen, and it's just so not fun. I want to see, we having a face-to-face conversation, and I just feel if you're able to, please turn your video on, please. Danny, Demetrius, Daryl, Za, Jalen, please. Yay! Santiago is here. Hi, Santiago. Welcome. Gosh, I can't hear.
And I'm here.
Cool.
I'm here.
Okay, guys, we have a special guest today, Santiago Leon. And I request that you please turn your video on so that we can all see each other and we can have a conversation. I don't like it that you don't have your video on right now. Okay, so please turn your video on. Turn your mics off unless you're speaking. Thank you. Thank you. I think our guests would like to be able to see you too.
Hey guys, how you doing? What's happening?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Where are you guys at?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Nice. You're a Clemson fan or Gamecocks fan?
Neither.
Neither. Okay, that's fine.
South Carolina State.
Actually, it's South Carolina State University, and Sean B's here, and so we are a historically Black university, and so the team Bulldogs, and they have a really great sports program. It was number one championships last year, right, in football.
Was it?
Yep. Jalen, help me out here, my sports guy.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, we're Comiac champions for
Was division? What's the division? Was
yeah.
in the division? Yeah. So, and this year, the sports program is canceled this semester, and
Oh,
school is 100% online. So, we are definitely having a situation where we're going to have to be really creative this semester about how we're going to pursue doing any kind of sports broadcasting.
oh, really? Yeah, I know it's gonna be quite different. I know a lot of the conferences are canceling. Some are still pending. Some are saying that they're gonna move forward with it, but we all gotta be creative somehow.
So, Leon, talk a little bit about. I was really impressed. I see you broadcasting quite a lot on Facebook, and you have such a variety of different kinds of people that you have on your program, and it was really impressive to see. And definitely now in COVID times, how you've been able to just keep. You just seem like you just keep rolling, and I'm like, wow, man.
That's me. Yeah, so I started about 2, 3 years ago doing sports podcasting. I've been doing a lot of media stuff for the past 10 years. I did college radio about 12, 13 years ago back in college. And, podcasting is very similar to radio, have a microphone and have a place to stream or to host your shows. And I started to do the podcast about 2 years ago because I found this cool software called Ecamm Live. And I was like, man, I could do a lot with this. And I love broadcasting, I love radio, and I love to listen to podcasts. So I started it, and I had a group of friends that were interested. Hey, let's do a podcast with each person. How about like 3 other guys that I work with, and the podcast is called like the Sportscast. And I started doing it every week, like 3 to 4 times a week, and we talk about mostly about college football, and then of course some soccer and like also some NBA basketball and also college basketball. And once the podcast was growing, we started to have a website as well, just to keep like the news and keep everyone up to date. We also have like a Twitter handle as well. So it was a collaborative effort to do it, and we've got about like 1,000 listens per week. So we've been definitely growing these past couple of months. And of course, even though sports is kind of postponed or kind of like trying to figure out what's going to happen, there's still news out there. So we'll see what happens, but really happy what I've done so far, and what we've done actually is all a huge collaborative effort. But yeah, it's been great.
That's really awesome. I just want to, and I always point out to my class here, I know Santiago from back when I was in college. I was an undergrad and he was graduate. And that's why I always, and what they told us, I'm telling you guys, is just look around the room, who you in class with, because those connections are really important. I mean, you brothers and sisters for life, because you're going through this education and doing this. So be talking to the people in your class, because just like he's saying, you could collab with somebody in class and you just never know where that's going to take you. That might take you to what you're dreaming of doing.
Yeah, like 3 of the 4 people that helped me out with the sportscast came from college. And I haven't seen these guys in like over 10 years. So, and very thankful, grateful with social media that you're able to reach out to them. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll see them. I mean, not sure like if I'll see them again in person, but with the internet, anything's possible, and you could become a business partner or able to collaborate in a project. It's fun.
Yeah. So you guys, we're interviewing today. So if you have any questions, just put your hand up and
Absolutely.
ask a question. Yeah, go ahead, Jalen. Jalen, you have to unmute.
You gotta mute that mic.
Yeah, you have to mute your mic because we can't. Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
I didn't. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
now I can.
Can
Jalen's
you
Hart, I hear you.
get your
Well,
undergrad? Where did you get your master's?
yeah, I went to Liberty University for my undergrad, and then Regent University for my graduate studies, and they're both communication. Um, at Liberty, I had more of the radio experience side of things because they had a radio station, and I learned like the equipment, like the sound levels, things like that, microphones, how things are automated. And then at Regent, I got more like the website of things a little bit. So I kind of mixed the two, and that's helping out with this website and also some other websites.
Yeah. So do you have any links or something that could we take a look at some things that you have?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll send you like the Sportscast link on the chat, so you
Okay.
guys are able to see it. That let me see right here. Yeah.
Can I pull
And
some?
yeah, it's run by WordPress. I sync in the podcast with the website, so I upload like the podcast, to the website, and then it's shared, and I can share my screen. Oh no, I can't. I'm disabled. But yeah, if you
Okay,
look
yeah,
at it,
I'm pulling up something from your Facebook thing.
oh,
And,
okay.
right now. So what's really just so you have really good coverage on your show, right? So you've got Facebook, you've got WordPress, you've got what
Yeah.
else do you have?
So I multi-stream to multiple platforms at the same time. So I stream to Facebook, to Periscope,
again. We had
and to
quick
YouTube.
interruption
Um,
of the podcast.
and yeah, I mean, I pretty much you got to multi-stream to multiple platforms because you never know who's watching, where they're at. On Facebook, of course, you capture more your friends. And then Periscope, I see a lot more of a bigger net because you'll capture some new people. And of course, YouTube is good just in case if you want people to search you, because YouTube is the second search engine in the internet. So you got to multi-stream. You got to have your tentacles in all areas. And then, of course, once the streaming is done, I rip the audio and I upload it to my website, and it'll make as a like he'll go to a podcast, and then he'll go to Apple Podcast. It'll go to Stitcher, TuneIn, and it's so accessible. You can find it anywhere, pretty much.
Okay, well let's just play a little clip here. I have like your recent show.
So Justin, what does this bring for the SEC? Of course, SEC is the biggest, in my opinion.
Can everybody see?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
And I guess like the Sportscast opinion is the biggest conference in college football. Like the most talent.
I'm sorry, Santiago. Who is this guy here?
Yes, he is one of the main contributors for the Sportscast. Justin Riley. I got to know him in Alabama when I lived in Alabama about 10 years ago, and he's in Mississippi now, and he's a huge SEC Alabama fan, so he talks about anything related to those two topics. So, but yeah.
Okay. All right. And also, are most of your interviews done in this Zoom style type of thing, or?
Yes, I've been using two platforms. One is Ecamm, and like the other is using Zoom. Ecamm is good if you just have one guest, but if you have multiple guests, it's good to use Zoom. For some reason, my Ecamm is not working well with multiple guests, and with Ecamm, what they use is Skype, so that's what they use. But with Zoom, it's a little bit easier with Zoom because there's less delays, there's less interruption, and they just make like the whole stream a little bit more easy. So I might just shift to Zoom more permanently in the future.
So let's just play this real quick.
Most in depth.
Okay.
Do you think the SEC will stick around and play a full season, maybe with the ACC and other conferences, without the Big Ten and Pac-12? Can you foresee that?
I do foresee it. I think that Greg Sankey and the rest of the governing bodies of the
Who's
SEC.
Greg Sankey?
Greg Sankey is the commissioner of the SEC. He has been very vocal these past several weeks and just kind of keeping everyone in the loop. And out of any conference out there, the SEC has been the strongest and the most believable when it comes to having a college football season. It looks like that he's very comfortable. I mean, I could be wrong behind the scenes, but right now it looks like he's very comfortable with all the protocol that are in place, and all the doctors, medical staff, what have you, of every team. He's allowing them to make the calls. He's putting the faith in the universities, and it looks like he's not basing any of his decisions off of emotion or panic. Everything is well thought out.
What do you say emotion and panic? Why do you say that?
Well, because right now, majority of this society, including the college sports world, are basing a lot of their decisions off of emotion
You mean
and
specifically
fear.
Big Ten and Pac-12?
Well, the Pac-12 definitely. Big Ten looks like it, and this was just out of the blue. You really didn't get that feel initially, but now all of a sudden it's a different story. But I think a lot of people are making their decisions based off what is trending or what is popular, rather than just kind of calming down and just really evaluating, and also trusting the university officials, which include the strength and conditioning staff, health staff, so on and so forth, to do what's necessary to keep these players safe.
This is what Greg Sankey today said probably about an hour ago. He says, I look forward to learning more about the factors that led the Big Ten and Pac-12 leadership to take these actions today. I remain comfortable, keyword comfortable, with a thorough and deliberate approach that the SEC and our team members are taking to support a healthy environment for our student athletes. We will continue to further refine our policies and protocols for a safe return to sports as we monitor developments around COVID-19 in a continued effort to support, educate, and care for our student athletes every day. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. Big Ten, we're planning to start at the end of August. The SEC and the ACC, we're planning to start on September 26th. How urgent SEC has to make that decision? They got about 2 months, about a month and a half, Justin. Do you think they have some cushion to decide if they'll keep going or they'll postpone it?
I think they have enough time to make an educated decision. But to be honest with you, do we really want to wait and it be canceled, or would we rather have the Band-Aid ripped off right now instead of being kept in limbo? But these players,
how much
right
time
now,
will we give Greg Sankey?
Well, give him to the 26th, but
Of August or September?
yeah, I say give him to the end of this month, and
Okay.
that way he can make an educated decision based on that point before these teams really come together and they're really practicing. I mean, not that they're not right now, but that's
They
when
are.
the grind-
Michigan's practicing still, by the way.
Well, the grind will really get more intense, come September, because they're going to start preparing for game one. So, yeah, something needs to be in place fairly soon. These coaches need to know what's going on.
He says he remains comfortable with the decision he's made to keep the season going. This is what the statement from the ACC says. From the ACC in general, no commissioner said, like, the ACC will continue to make decisions based on medical advice, inclusive of our medical advisory group, local and state health officials. State health guidelines, and do so in a way that appropriately coincides with our university's academics missions. The safety of our students, I hear that word safety, staff, and overall campus communities will always be our top priority. It's a legal thing to say. And we are pleased with the protocols being administered on our 15 campuses. That's one more. No, that's the same. We will continue to follow our process that has been in place for months and has served us well. We understand the need to stay flexible and be prepared to adjust as medical information and the landscapes evolves. They start the same day as SEC, Justin. And also keep in mind the Big 12 is still around. Can you see those three conferences going at it alone?
Yeah, I can see it happening. Why not?
Or do you see
Why
one
do
of them dropping out? Which one of the three will drop out first?
It'd be a coin toss between the ACC and Big 12. I think the SEC will be the absolute last to make this decision because I feel like they're the most confident in what they're doing right now. I think everyone else is just kind of looking over their shoulder to see what Big Brother is doing right now.
Okay, so I'm going to cut it right there. So, screen sharing stop. Okay. So, what? Here's some things that I want you to discuss. First of all, Santiago is a really good interviewer, and he's got, as you can see, one of the things you can see, he's got the enthusiasm going, and he's got energy, and even if you don't really like sports, you'll listen to him because he's driving it. It's like, I'm not, I always, the joke is with me is that, I'm not so much into sports, but I do holler for the dollar, and I have worked on sports crews. So even watching his program, I'll stay tuned to it because you might have a guest that might be low energy, but he's a pro and he's got the energy and he's driving it. I'm just making that point. Did anybody notice that? What else did you notice about this interview?
There wasn't really like awkward pauses. Like it was kind of like smooth transition. Like after he would ask the person, and then he would next have a question. Like it wasn't like if that makes sense.
Yep. So how do you think you got
it was like the way he did it. The way he did it was like he asked a question, and then off of the answer that Justin said, he asked a question based off of what he said. So it's like he put two questions in one, but separated it.
Yeah, it's like they were all like well thought out questions, and it kind of was like they said, like a smooth transition into everything. The whole conversation, it didn't seem like forced; it just seemed natural.
Was it scripted?
No, it was not scripted at all. We had a few questions ahead of time, but I bet half the show was not scripted. It was pretty much off the cuff, asking questions from his answer. So you got to pay attention to what the interviewee is saying, and then you capture it. So it's you just kind of make things go quick. So
I'm going to say, from interviewing people, documentary and all this stuff, you got to be like, your brain, you're listening, but I'm always like 3 steps ahead of what that person's going to say. Like I ask something and I always anticipate, what are they going to say? Sometimes they throw me off my game and they say something totally different I wasn't expecting, but that's okay too, because that makes it interesting. But you always got to be, it's like a chess match almost. You got to anticipate what they're going to say next so that you know how to formulate what you're going to ask them. So
yeah, and with that, like, you learn how to do that through time. I mean, I listen to a lot of radio. I prefer like the radio format a little bit better than the podcast, because radio has more energy, high energy. Podcast, you could go as slow as you want. It could be very monotone, but I listen to podcasts like that, and it's just really puts me to sleep. But I like the radio energy and mix it in with the podcast.
You hear that? Anybody else have any thoughts?
I think it's a great interview. It was a great interview, and the feedback was just as much as the questions.
Yeah. Well, let me show you his. Let me go and show you his. Let me do a screen share. This is your blog, right? The sports.
Yeah, Sportscast. Yeah, that is all interconnected with the podcast. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a reflection of what we talk about, and we put it also in.
We just put that out too, not too long ago.
Yeah. This is very recent, about Jerry Jones that wants a full fan. Well, wants fans in the games. So his games, at least.
Yeah. So if anybody's been in my class last semester, they all have a blog, right? Everybody say yay.
Very important.
Yeah, they all have a blog, and if you don't have a blog, you're gonna have one this semester, because I think that's your best shot at getting a job in the field is put your stuff out there. But this is interesting. So
and you see the podcast right there that it's embedded in the website right there, so people could just listen to it.
This is nice, and you've got some good graphics in there that makes you want to look at it.
Right.
Gun
Also,
law.
some advertisements which kind of affect like the layouts. I'm still trying to fix that.
Okay. All right. And you're making some of your own layouts, right? You're going into WordPress. I know you do internet stuff.
Yeah. So I use WordPress. I've been using WordPress for the past 10 years. I'm a WordPress developer, and I also attend a lot of WordCamps, which is a WordPress conference that happens yearly. And I'm very involved with the system. And WordPress, my gosh, it's like a good home base to have for anything digital,
Yeah.
to be honest. But yeah, we kind of organize everything. And the site monetizes through Google AdSense. So we make some money off of it. And yeah, like everything's SEO'd. Everything is optimized for Google because they have certain, uh, restrictions for you to make, good search results. So
And I recommend, like, if you really want, I've heard several of you say you want to go more into broadcasting and that you're interested in that. You know, you know, I've tried playing around with WordPress. I don't think that's as much of my thing, but if that's the direction you want to go, it's really good to learn it and get good at it, because that's a good future possibility for you, right? Collect.
asking me? Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of doing
No, it's okay. And with like broadcasting, things have kind of have changed this past couple of years. Now, people are streaming more, so you'll find new people when they're streaming on YouTube or Periscope, and a lot of people just re-upload them to a YouTube video. There's different formats of a whole different lot of formats for media these days. So a lot more opportunities now than it was like 10 years ago. That I can tell you.
Well, talk a little bit about Periscope for people who are not very familiar with it.
Yeah, Periscope is like the live stream platform that is associated with Twitter. So a lot of the popular people that are on Twitter, they use Periscope to stream their broadcast. And they which you're allowed to embed your Periscope via Twitter. So when you're scrolling down and reading tweets, you could see you could see a stream via Periscope, and it's really easy. And also, one thing about Periscope is very discoverable, meaning that people could search a term and they could find your broadcast. So if you type in like Alabama, or if you type in like sports or college football, Periscope will pull that up for you. And also Periscope has a good chat feature as well, where people are able to interact with the streamer itself. So it's a good avenue. It's open compared to Facebook. YouTube is also open, but I've had a challenge with YouTube. It feels like the views there are not as much as if it was in Periscope or Facebook. But YouTube, the thing is, you got to be subscribed to the channel. That's one aspect to get more views to your YouTube channel.
Are you on Apple and Spotify and that kind of thing too?
Yes, I'm in like majority of the podcast platforms, like Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher. You could do it easily through Anchor.fm. They automatically will distribute your podcast to all the platforms, but you're kind of stuck with their platform in a way. But with WordPress, you're able to just like you have to like submit to each platform individually. So I'm I think about 10 to 15 different podcast platforms, but like the main one is Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
What's your interaction with your audience like?
It's a lot with the chat. Anytime that we stream a show is through the chat, and then second is Twitter. We got a whole lot of Twitter followers. So typically it's a chat plus like the whole Twitter. And yeah, we just talk about, disagreements. For example, like the Big Ten shouldn't cancel. So there was a lot of interactions with that this past couple of days. So Twitter is a huge one because that's where the conversations happening. And then of course you got chat. But I do see one little thing that I see a lot lately is people that use Zoom to have more interaction. So if you set up on Zoom a webinar and you're able to stream it, users are able, to use like their video plus audio to communicate and also to engage. I see that a lot lately, and I think Zoom could be a big player when it comes to broadcasting.
Wow, that's really
Yeah,
cool. So like
I'm really
even
surprised what they're doing with
even if
Zoom.
these guys wanted to do that, just gave me an idea,
I
guys.
know.
If you wanted to do a weekly sports show for this class, so we're all the way I'm doing this class is we're all kind of in a meeting. This is our team. We're all in a meeting, and we're going to create something from this class. So that's an idea where if you somebody wanted to be a producer, director, and you wanted to maybe as a class record this and turn that in, make this our sports show where you're discussing a topic in sports, we could do that. That's an idea. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah, and it's really easy now. Like with Zoom, it makes it easier to create a broadcast now because you're able to have multiple people. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention is that I transcribe all my podcasts and I put them into text in a blog format because it's good for Google search, Google SEO. That Google are able to pick up like your article because you have keywords that you talk about. So that's one thing that I do, which I do with one broadcast. I do like 10 multiple things with that one piece of just with that one piece of content. So
Yeah. Well, anybody got any thoughts, comments they want to throw?
I have a question for him.
Yeah, what's up?
As being a sports broadcaster, I'm a very opinionated person. So is it sometimes very hard to not just, I would say, not really justify your opinion, but to not force your opinion in this line of work?
Yeah, when it really depends on the topic. Obviously if you don't want to force your opinion, you got to be objective.
Yeah.
Or you could be opinionated. If your show is about being like highly opinionated, that's fine. There's a lot of people out there that on ESPN that talk about like what they believe and what and they kind of mix like their emotion and everything. You could do that. It just depends on like the type of show. Now, if you're highly opinionated, you might stray away some audience members. So that's the risk you have. But if you feel comfortable and you think most of your audience will stick around, then keep it like that.
Okay.
But also I know I've talked to some of you about it. I will more about ethics and journalism too. Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure you're fair and I believe I'm the PBS girl, so I believe in fair and balanced journalism and just making sure that you can put out information so people can, form their own opinion. So I usually interview people in a way so that you've got the information, and I want the people who are listening to make that decision, on their, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, but that's me. That's how that's my.
It's just been like lately with with everything that's going on political wise and everything. I've been starting to see a lot more journalists and reporters become a little bit more opinionated and a little more stand still in what's going on. And I just wanted to make sure that, and a lot of people have been, okay, this is my opinion, but I'm open towards your opinion as well. So my question was just kind of, just saying that with the light that reporting is going towards now, it's a lot more opinionated, but without straying away from the facts.
Yeah, and that's something that I noticed too. I think like journalists that are supposed to be like reporters, I think sometimes they get like their opinion in their reporting, and I mean I personally don't like that. But there's also another set of broadcasters that are just strictly all about opinion, which is fine. But if you hear reporters doing that, I kind of get a little bit like why is he saying that? But
yeah.
It's kind of up to your producer in a way too. So
okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
I mean that kind of journalism goes against my moral conscience, And so and and I know people in journalism broadcast have gotten into jobs where their moral conscience is being attacked every single day because of people not being ethical, and a lot of news is opinion. It's not it's not telling the truth, and letting you see the whole picture. So
And
just
that's kind of see lately that's kind of been like CNN versus Fox News right now. Like
But
it's
like for
Fox News
years,
is kind of more opinionated. This is the way we feel. This is who we are. And CNN is kind of like, these are the facts. These are what, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, and and there, I mean, who was the ball player? My mind just blanked the name. The guy who took a knee, the football player.
Kaepernick.
Colin
Colin
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick.
Now he got assassinated. The media assassinated this man because of moral conscience. He took a knee, and then the politics jumped in, and I'm just giving it as an example of somebody who got assassinated. He's probably was okay with it, but he's not playing ball. I mean, he might be playing ball again, but they cut him out of the MFL, from what I understand, right? So,
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I don't know. That's just an
go
example.
ahead, go
That's just
ahead.
came to my mind.
I gotta say something. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Like he about to say something.
Not me. No, I wasn't about
Oh,
to say anything.
I thought you was about
No,
to
go ahead, guys.
You can go
Any
ahead,
more,
Jay.
any more questions? Any?
I'm straight. I'm
Okay.
Go ahead, Miss Cat.
Yeah, and like the equipment wise, you could get things really cheap. Like this microphone is about $100, but you could get something less for like 50 to $70. I think a good microphone starts around like $100. And just have a good computer. It could be a Mac or it could be a Windows device. Just have a good software, good hardware, and then I have like a little ring light to have better quality when it comes to video. So equipment these days is really cheap. You go on Amazon and you get a whole studio for like under $200. So it just really depends on like the quality you want. And of course, Zoom is a good starter, to be honest. I mean, I've been using Zoom for the past couple months, and if you want to record anything, and what I have here is actually a green screen. You get it under for like under $100 as well. So
Well, I bought a big chunk of green fabric at the fabric store for about $10. So
exactly,
one too.
it's really simple. It's nothing out of this world, and the computer can pick up that green color and have some amazing backgrounds. So
Yeah, Jalen.
So, like for your show, do you jump on multiple topics throughout the duration of your show, or do you just stay on that one specific topic?
yeah, like the first topic goes a little bit like the longest. It's like 10 to 15 minutes, and then after that we go into like smaller topics, and then at the end of the show we have predictions, and then we have like the random question of the day, which is like, what is your favorite type of macaroni and cheese? Is it like lobster macaroni? Is it with barbecue, things like that? So we kind of keep everything under like 30 to 45 minutes, but the first topic is typically like the longest, about 10 to 15 minutes, and we just go from there.
So how do you feel about the bubble, the NBA bubble?
Bubble, I think it's good. I think it's worked out. It's safe, to be honest. We'll see how it goes with the playoffs and everything. I think the ratings are okay. I not sure. Of course, I do miss like the whole stadiums and the fanfare, but I think it's working out. It's just one avenue to keep things safe and everything. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see what LeBron does if he wins this championship or not.
Okay.
I got another question.
Yeah.
Do you think that doing this virtual, sit-in interviews with sports channels and sports radios, will it broadcast more production throughout the entire like sports media? You think they even help it grow further, faster?
You think they'll have more virtual
Yes.
broadcast? It's very possible. I don't like for that happening because I like the whole studio aspect. It's more professional. You see better quality, but for the time being, yeah, like what reporters did, like these past 3 months, they were reporting from their house. But I still prefer studio. We'll see. I mean, it's really up to like the executive. Of course, people will say, well, you could save money if you report from your house, but we'll see what happens. I'm kind of like in the middle with that. So
Okay, so I have one of the questions I want to make sure I address here is that, traditionally in this class, I've just turned my students loose and say, hey, go write articles about the school football team, go find a sport and write about it. And obviously that's not going to happen this semester. So, uh, Santiago, as a sports broadcaster, how are you coming up with your content? What's that like?
yeah, I do a lot of reading, obviously in the morning, a lot of Twitter reading that I do a lot. First thing in the morning, I go to Twitter, pretty much is my main news source, and I read what's like the latest when it comes to sports news. I also read tweets of like, comments uh, beneath the main tweet headline. That's what I do. I also listen to ESPN radio in the morning. And then I also watch Sports Center, and which that's all happening within an hour. So I do a lot
Okay,
of
how
that.
do you get that person on there? I'm a little shy. I don't know if I could do that. What should I do?
Well, you gotta grow hunger for it.
People on my show.
Oh, what do you mean? Sorry.
Well, okay, so you get some great guests on your show.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just some people are a little bit shy. For me, I'm a go-getter and I do the
Yeah.
same thing. It takes you got to be on the social media. I'm just going to reiterate what he said. But
Mhm.
but what suppose you're a little bit shy and how do you what's the good way to get out of that? Cuz what does it take,
Oh
to get
wow. It takes
a good
passion.
guest?
Building the passion. Doing it for the viewers, doing it for the user. It's like welcoming people to your house. You want to be, hey, how you doing? Come on in. You want some water? Here's some pizza. You got to have that passion a little bit. Um, it's a good question because there is that argument. It's just talent where like you got to build it yourself. It's hard to teach that type of stuff. But I look at it as when someone comes to your house and you turn and welcome them in and you want to give them like the best hospitality ever. Hey, I got the pizza. I got the soda. I got the TV to watch the sports. You want to be very full of energy when it comes to that. And that's what you do. And also be prepared. A lot of these shows I prepare myself about half an hour to an hour before every show. And that gets you way more prepared versus when you're not prepared, you're kind of like you're thinking from like minute zero, and you're just like, what should I talk about next? But when you're prepared, that's another aspect of getting like the whole energy going, and also topics. Sometimes there could be a topic that you're very passionate about. Hey, this guy got traded to this team. Really excited about this. This is great for this team and great for the organization. So there's different ways you can do it.
So there's not always an athlete that you're interviewing. Okay.
We interview athletes sometimes. Every Tuesday we interview Alabama players, former Alabama players. Last night we interviewed this guy that played in 2012, which is like Nick Saban's best football year. And yeah, we just do a lot of research beforehand, and we ask about questions about like, okay, things didn't work out for you in like the NFL. So what happened to you afterwards? Were you approached by different leagues like NFL Europe or XFL? So those that little stuff like that, you get a little bit more interested about. Like, wow, and also like these players give answers like, oh wow, this is like exclusive. We never knew what happened after this year or like after that game. What did you feel when you caught that ball? Or when you won the game, or when you lost the game. Things like that gets you really excited because you could be the first to break the story and perhaps get traffic to your website. So
Nice. Well, I'm just going to share a little bit. Like, I do have kind of like some nerdy, kind of shy side in me sometimes. And
Mhm.
so, and I was working as producing an Arab American show, and I was dealing with people who have a different culture and a different language, and or I'd be going to call some high-powered politicians and things like that, and I would be like a little bit shy, like, oh my God, I don't know if I could talk to these people, but my tip, I would, so it's going to sound weird, I would just visualize that I'm Oprah Winfrey or somebody else, because they would definitely answer her phone call into my mind, and that worked for me, psyched myself out. But when I would contact people like that, I always got them on the show. I was always thinking in my mind that it's just a mind thing. I'm just sharing that, but because sometimes I have students who are just like, so like, like I'm always trying to get students to get off campus too, because they'll only do somebody that's on campus. And I don't know, my thought is that us being online right now makes us more open to the world, doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, when I was in school, like we had a class where we had to go get out and do a local news story, get out of campus. Yeah, it's comfortable to be on campus. It's a very comfortable place to be in, but there's a lot more out there, and you get more interesting stories when you get out of campus. So that's for sure.
Okay, well, we got about 10 more minutes left here, winding down. I want to hear from you guys. This is part of your class participation. I want to hear, we've got a professional here, and
Are
please.
there internship opportunities in the spring?
Absolutely. Kat and I were talking about that yesterday. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe this semester as well, like whatever your schedule will allow. Yeah, but I'm definitely looking for help. We need people to potentially produce shows, maintain the website, try to tweet out some breaking news, because news is 24/7. It never stops. And I obviously have a day job besides the sportscast. So sometimes when I break a story, it's like an hour late. It's like, oh, it's too late. What's the point? But yeah, there's definitely opportunities, and I guess Kat and I will be talking about that in the next couple of days or
And
weeks.
I
So
can definitely vouch for Jalen. I had him last semester in news writing, and
cool.
he's definitely got a lot of potential, and I think he'd make a great intern.
That's awesome.
I gotta ask a question. So
Yeah.
who is your favorite sports analyst that inspired you the most?
Wow. There was one guy named Andres Cantor. He was a Spanish broadcaster back in the 90s. He's still a broadcaster, and he was Spanish, and he would broadcast the World Cup, which is like the biggest soccer tournament in the world. And he really got my attention back then, and how he narrated. Um, and in English, a lot of it. The guy Nance from CBS, I love him. Marv Albert, another great broadcaster. He's one of the classics. Bob Costas. It's just, I don't know. It's just when you're having a hard week, and then when you listen to him like the weekend on a Saturday, or like on a Sunday, you hear him, it's like, oh wow, it's so comfortable. I could watch the sports, have good narration, and yeah, those are my top broadcasters. So
Okay.
Cool. Anybody else? Anything? What are you thinking? Comments? Questions? Does this look like something that you really enjoy doing this semester? Or
I think it'll be a good thing for me to do.
yeah,
I
and your
love
headset,
sports.
man. Demetrius, that headset's perfect, man, because I have a microphone in this, but it gets heavy. But with that, it's all in one, so you don't have to worry about,
Yes, sir.
just plug it in and you broadcast. You're set to broadcast, I can tell.
Yes, sir.
yeah, nice. Kalia, what's your thoughts?
It's something I'm very interested in. But this, like with everything going on, I would kind of like want to focus on like social media, like being a social media person, making sure the breaking news get out, that kind of thing. Because broadcasting setup right now is not really where I would want it to be. So I will focus more like being behind the camera. right, like just right now, but even though I know reporting is what I want to do, but a social media practitioner is something that I would be interested in.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of people are on social media. It could be Facebook, Twitter. Um, and a lot of people just focus on those platforms just to break news. I mean, there's a lot of Twitter people that I seen on Twitter that break like the story right then. They don't write articles; they just write everything in 280 characters. That's important, you know. That becomes viral, and
Yes.
you get retweeted, you get liked a lot, and then I mean, it's interesting because I was listening to someone and he was saying that a whole lot of the news on Twitter usually comes out first than like
Yeah.
the broadcast people. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's quite interesting that I think it's the best news source, but that's just my
The
That's
the
where the
first
best connections and networking that I've done. Like when I'm looking for a story or I'm looking for people, I usually find them somewhere on YouTube or I find them on Twitter or Facebook or something like
yeah.
that. And then I
Yeah,
go,
and I get a whole lot of interviews through Twitter or LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also a good place to meet people. But yeah, Twitter, I mean, I've done about 20 interviews with people that I've found on Twitter. And those people are usually connected to a sports team. They work at like their local station, or they're just a fan, but they know everything. They're as good as a reporter, and they're like worthy to be interviewed. You know, you meet like the number one Twitter person from Nebraska. Hey, I know like everything about like the Cornhuskers and just things like that. So
yeah, yeah. Let's see who else. What? Oh, Courtney, what are you thinking here? Chiming in here.
Um, I don't know. Like I'm just listening. I don't really have nothing too much to say.
Okay. How do you think you're going to be okay with? Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, let's see. Who else did I have here? Somebody else I couldn't see. Somebody was here and then they bleeped out. Who is Za? Who is Za?
it's a cool name.
I know. Do we know each other? Like,
No, Mel.
Hey, Zah, how are you, man?
oh, okay.
Good. How you doing?
What do you think so far?
Oh, I'm just really listening more so. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, guys, it's so easy to start a show, start Twitter. I mean, I mean, I remember 10 years ago when I left college, when I left the college radio station, I was like, I can't find anything easy to broadcast.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, all this stuff it's just so easy, you know? And I was talking to a radio guy yesterday, and he was saying, yeah, man, you could just use your computer and able to start a radio station from there. So
Yeah. So anyway, so we're kind of ticking down for the last 5-6 minutes here. Anybody else have any other questions, thoughts?
also, guys, listen to a lot of radio shows, podcasts. Listen and just get and have an idea of what type of broadcast style you want. There's a lot of good examples. You know, there's the radio style where it's high energy, or the podcast where it's a little bit more low, more conversation. You know, listen. I mean, I listen to about 20 podcasts per week. So
Yeah. So who raise your hand if you listen to sports podcasts, if you're and consuming sports
that's
media.
cool.
I listen to them a little bit.
Which one do you listen to?
Sirius XM, I think.
I love Sirius.
Kobe,
Mhm.
How about you, Jalen?
Jalen and Jacoby.
Okay, they're on ESPN, right?
Yes.
And you, Kalia? What's your name?
Yes, it's Kayla, and
Oh, Kayla.
yeah, I
Okay,
listen to Jalen, and I think it's his and his.
I think so.
Yeah, I listen to the podcast instead of watching it.
Why did you do that? Because it's easier to listen, right?
Yeah, it's easier to listen, and then sometimes people can. I don't like people when they get really animated, if that makes sense, about certain topics. So it's just better to just listen to them
Yeah.
than to just see them going off. So yeah.
Yeah, before the pandemic, people that would work and they have a computer they usually work on, they usually really will listen to podcasts because it's more convenient rather just putting it on like YouTube. Also, people that go to work, they usually put a podcast or a radio show. But audio, I think it's a little bit easier because it's just more convenient. Like you don't have to be in front of a screen to watch it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of checking out to see some of the articles that you guys put in. So is this, this class, I don't know, does this kind of change anything how you think of things? Because I was looking at your articles and that you submitted, and it was mainly COVID cancels, that's pretty basic. But does this change your mind about how you see the world and see the sports world right now in broadcasting?
Yes. Yes,
How
ma'am.
so?
It changed a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of reporting. Now it's more of like in studio, give you what's going on. But it has changed the course of broadcasting for not just sports, but for everybody
Yeah.
in general terms.
Yeah.
It's also kind of showing you that, like, not to say that our jobs are like liabilities, but we will be the product of if if sports were, something like this were to happen again, you know.
Mhm.
So that kind of opened up my eyes to see that, like, how without sports, how our jobs would be completely different, like how we will have to change everything. And that's not just in the sports world, that's anybody in television, film, everything is changing, and our jobs require us to adapt no matter the circumstances.
So I'm wondering now if what I want to, if I'm turning you loose into the world after this meeting, if you're going to be thinking that you can do that this semester, that you're going to be able to find content, this semester and be able to, are you going to be able to do it? You're not going to come back to me and say, Miss Cat, I can't find anybody to interview or do my story with.
I think I'll be able to find people.
I'll find a way. I will not stop until I find a way.
Yeah.
That's what I
That's
do.
me. That's
Never
me.
stop. There's a lot of
Don't
people out there.
Somebody
people,
failed me
it's
really.
people
I don't
out
care if I
there.
have to get I don't care if I have to get my mom. She's an athletic director. We can talk about something, okay?
There you go.
And she could be your first guest. There, that's it. Yeah.
Got that nailed.
Demetrius, are you doing okay there? Or you're kind of
Yes.
quiet in your blank here.
Yes. So for the most part, I can find content that will bring together, because I got family members. My cousin is he's a head of the football team at my high school. So I can go talk to him about some things and discuss business with like how anything works with scheduling and anything like that.
Yep, that's awesome. I mean, that's it.
That's the
And
best place to start is within your friends or family.
Mm-hmm.
yep. Danny, how are you doing there? Okay.
I'm good. I'm sorry, my mom came through, so I muted myself, and yeah. But anyways, um, I really like the part where we spoke about the kinds of podcasts, because I myself am not really like a sports person. I can only follow up until like a certain point, but I do enjoy podcasting now. So yeah, that's my take.
Yep. And
Yeah,
Danny
podcasting is
did
only
an
going up.
amazing podcast last semester. I'm bragging on one of my students, but yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay. And and Danny, like I said, you can just take with you what I said. I'm not too big on sports, but I have the skills and I know how to holler for the dollar. And having those skills,
I like
having
that.
those skills, when you got to pay your rent and stuff is awesome to have. So you just got to go for it. Let's see. And who else? Sean, you've been very quiet, my friend. What's going on?
Oh, I've just been listening, but honestly, like I could see myself doing like a podcast because I have Twitter fingers and I argue with people, random people on Twitter about sports all the time. So
There you go.
yeah,
That's a good start.
Yeah. Sean wrote
Same.
really good sports art. You wrote sports articles last semester, right? You really got into,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So, okay. All right. Winding down. We got a few more minutes. And anybody else? Okay.
Do you cover the high school leagues and where are you based off of?
Miami, Florida.
So are you covering? Do you know what's going on with the high school leagues in Florida in that area? What they're doing?
Not 100% sure, but I do know that that schools are going online this fall till October at least. I suppose they're canceled, but we don't cover much high school. We talk about what's going on, in your area, and we'll mention briefly, but nothing too specific when it comes to that.
Let's see.
You ever thought about doing that?
Not really, but maybe in the future. I know that we cover a lot of recruiting on that aspect, so we definitely touch up on high school a little bit when it comes to recruiting. But we do have a recruiting reporter, so he does cover it a little bit, but it's more like would that player be a 4 or 5 star, things like that, and like also what school he's going to. So
Okay.
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 but that's a good idea though, because that might be a market.
So
I
Jalen,
was,
oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
forever hold your peace.
I was done with the question because that's what most podcasts. I feel like that can be a route people could take because that branch has not because most people show their life like high school sports, the seniors coming out choosing where they want to go can impact their choice.
I think I'm losing you a bit. I don't know.
Yeah, you kind of let out. Try to say it again.
I was going to get out. I was just saying, like, the high school avenue, they had a lot of light shown as much as the college sports and national sports. That's all.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't done much research on high school blogs or high school podcasts, but there might be a open market for that, and that could be captured by people that follow like high school football that want to know, hey, this guy could be the future Tua or something. That's
Mm-hmm.
not a bad avenue to go into.
Cool. Okay, so my question is for Jalen, do I just give him the email address that you had and you want me to have him email you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Email to me or you could just talk to Kat and
Okay.
and I'll leave my email in the
Okay.
chat. So
And then I'll let you connect and then you guys can talk.
absolutely. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
what I
That'd be
would
great.
need, what I need is for you to email me a description for the internship because it has to go
Okay.
through the university.
I understand. We'll do.
Or it's for college credit.
Yeah, makes sense. I remember that. Yeah, like it.
Yeah.
Did some interns when internship when I was in college. It's very important, and you learn a lot. And I'm telling you guys, the future is digital. I mean, that's just where things are going. Barstool Sports started about 10 years ago. They signed Deion Sanders today. He's a big time sports analyst. So, and Barstool is, I don't know if, I mean, it's almost as big as ESPN now. So.
Now, can you use more than? Hey, Jalen, do we
Bleacher
have
Report as well.
do we have another
Yeah,
sports
huge.
guy in our internship class? Do you recall?
What you said?
Are you the only sports guy in the internship class? Do you know?
The internship class isn't until next semester though. So whoever signs up for that
You're in the
class,
internship class, aren't you?
I'm in the practicum class.
Oh, okay.
Practicum class is this semester. The internship class is in the spring.
Okay, I'm the internship instructor.
Okay.
So I don't know why I thought you were in my internship. Okay. All right. So can you use more than one intern? Because I'm going to present this to the interns on Monday.
I think I'm open to it. Let me do some more research. But I think we can have a couple people. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, because we're just in a dire situation where we can't send the university basically doesn't want to send anybody out to a in-person internship. We need
Hey, digital. I mean, all my collaborators are all digital. We haven't seen it. Haven't seen each other in person, or we're not even planning to anytime soon. So,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, yeah,
Got
just
a
send me a
class.
description.
Got a class
And
like
Jalen,
right
if you want to do that as a practicum,
Yeah.
I forgot who's doing the practicum. Who's your instructor in
now.
practicum?
Mr. Smith.
Okay. Oh, he's great. So I'll copy him on that too.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, we're winding down. Any last thoughts or anything before we take off? Somebody just give me a second.
No, no, I'm good.
Hey, so Jalen, his email is up here on the chat here if you want to grab
I got it. I got it.
Okay. Cool.
All right, cool.
And I'll send you the description to be official.
Okay.
That's
cool.
All right. Well, Santiago, I just want to thank you. Thank
No
you so
problem.
much for being here. You just made the class today, and just so happy to have you here. And
Yeah, anytime, guys. If you want to have me on again, I'd be more than welcome. And have any questions, there's my email, or my Twitter is @Sleon, SLEON. And then the Sportscast is the Sportscast1 on Twitter. So either one of you guys just shoot me a DM or a message. Any questions, I'm willing to answer it. So, and also my email is on the chat. So
cool. Everybody get his email if you want to, and you probably want to maybe follow him or check him out on social media. Stay in touch.
I'm gonna do my Twitter handle right there. So.
Okay, good.
Okay, everybody got it?
All right, guys, do well. Have a good semester. I know it's a little bit different this year, but you'll get through it. So.
Yay. Okay.
Thank you.
Guys. All right, we're done. Thanks. Bye.
Have a good day, guys. God bless.
All right. Thank you.